Second Chance Stage, the host of it right here, Emmanuel Acho. It airs Thursdays on Max, which of course means you could see it right here on the Roku portal, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Also fresh off the set from the facility. Did you just finish and then come down here?
I'm wearing the same outfit I wore on the facility.
Nice.
Nobody judge me. Okay, no, just a judgment-free zone, Rich, I would hope.
Yes.
But a phenomenal, epic sports day today, 7 to 9 a.m. Waking up at 5 a.m., Rich, it never gets easy out here in California.
Never does. No, I do it on Sunday. I do it before that on Sundays for game day morning, man.
I can't tell because you look great.
You know what? It's the makeup. We've got Sarah, our great makeup artist. You know, it all works out. So let me just jump in and something that I saw you were, quite adamant about over the weekend was the flag planting from my alma mater in Columbus, Ohio, and your take on it.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing it up dovetails with mine. Isn't that interesting? And and the fact that I just could not believe the HC of TOSU was standing there.
Yeah.
Watching this thing. I mean, you've been in situations, I imagine, on the field after a game when things are kind of a bit hazy. Is that what was going on with him, do you think?
I think that he was shocked by the fact that he lost that game. I would suggest that was the worst loss of any coach this year. I would also suggest Ryan Day took the worst loss of his coaching career, NFL included, when he wasn't a head coach. I would also suggest there was not a more plausible worst loss to be had by any coach this year than the loss that Ryan Day took this year. So I think in that moment, he was in pure and utter shock. I also believe a lot of things cross your mind as an athlete and a coach in that moment. I think the first thing is, am I going to get fired? What in the hell just happened? How did that just happen? Where could I end up coaching next? I think so much goes through your head in moments like that I don't think a lot of people realize. I think he was frozen, but you do not have the luxury of being frozen as a head coach at the Ohio State.
I know. Certainly when, one of your warriors, one of your 11 warriors is melting down right in front of you, that kid Jack Sawyer who came with a huge pick on the goal line,
bro. I think
in this game,
Rich, I believe what Ryan Day, his freezing after the game, I think that was more egregious than anything he did during the game.
Come on.
I think wholeheartedly. After the game, there are tons of people, your players included, are on the field in a brawl. Keep in mind, you can still go win a national championship.
Yeah.
Michigan cannot. They won the battle. Congrats to them. Tip your hat to them if you will. You can go win the war. But if your players get suspended because they're fighting, now you might both lose the battle and lose the war. A Hall of Fame college football coach, he told me, never let one loss beat you twice. You just lost to Michigan. That's the first loss. If you now lose players because they're fighting at midfield, that's your second loss. Never let one loss beat you twice. Watching him frozen there was despicable to me. To me.
Do you think they deserve to have a home game in the college football playoffs right now? My way of segueing, I guess, to the other story of our sports day is what the College Football Playoff Committee put out for the field of 12.
I don't think they deserve to have a home game. I think they had a couple big shots. They lost their first big shot against Oregon, obviously. You could suggest they won the big shot against Penn State. Whatever you think of Penn State, I don't think all that highly of Penn State. And then Indiana, again, not sure how highly we all think of Indiana. No, they obviously don't deserve to have a home game. They won't get a home game, clearly.
But they're currently in line to get one right now against Tennessee. You think that things
you're referencing. I was thinking about the bye. Do they deserve to have a home game? Yeah, give them a home game. I was thinking about, do they deserve to get the bye?
Got it.
Do they have a home game? Yes. At the end of the day, you still beat a scorching hot Indiana team. But I have a philosophy on college football in general. But
all right,
in theory,
Emmanuel
you beat
Acho.
a scorching hot Indiana
What
team.
is your in general philosophy?
Here's the dilemma. Because of how we rank teams, then you will beat ranked teams based upon where we ranked teams before we ever knew if the teams were good or not. You tracking with me? So
I do.
The SEC, you have all these meaningful wins against SEC opponents. Well, that's just because they were ranked high before we ever knew if they were worth the crap or not. So you beat a team that was ranked, but they were only ranked based upon a preseason poll.
Well, in the same way you look at the NFL, it's just like, wow, that's a really tough schedule that they're playing. And then by the middle of the season, suddenly you just played, of their first 8 games, 2 of them were only winning because of who what their records are right now, and then things change at the very end. Or let's just say you're somebody who does a 3-hour sports talk, radio, and television show that once upon a time thought the Bills weren't going to win the division, and you said such a thing.
Oh, you were on that highlight tape too.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
We were both on it, Rich.
But we made these decisions before a game was played.
1,000%.
But that's just the nature of our beast.
The
is it not,
difference,
Emmanuel?
for this is like in the NFL, at least the teams you beat don't have bearing on your playoff implications based upon some sort of strength of schedule.
Right.
In college football, it's all predicated upon strength of schedule. Everything is predicated upon, we beat 5 ranked opponents. Well, how good are those ranked opponents now?
Or they were ranked at the time and they're no longer ranked.
Correct.
Or when you beat them, they weren't ranked, but look at them now.
Exactly. Like when I talk about a team like Indiana, my suggestion, I said, Ohio State scored 31 unanswered points against Indiana. Y'all really think 11 other teams are letting Ohio State score 31 unanswered on them? When people are like, Indiana's all that good. Ohio State scored 31 unanswered. So how good is Indiana really? Obviously Indiana's a great story, but there's a difference between a great story and a great team. Good team, but they're not necessarily a great team. But I think they're currently seated. What are they sitting at? 8? But you know what I mean? Like they're currently seated there. Like they're a great team. Phenomenal story. I love what Cignetti's doing. But I just think that's one of the philosophical flaws in college football.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what it's like to have 31 unanswered scored on your team by Ohio State.
Wow.
Wouldn't know it.
You're still in the gloating phase?
This is going to last another whole year.
Yeah. 365, Ocho.
And it's been going on for the last 3.
Oh, it's been like a presidential term.
Yeah.
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 I'm running for re-election next year.
Do you not feel bad?
No.
Like a part of you should feel bad.
Well, okay, explain to me which part should feel bad.
The part that last year you got everything you could ever ask for in life is
That's
Michigan.
true. That's true. Yeah,
You got it all.
Check.
You got everything. Checked all
that
the boxes.
box. Yeah.
Ryan Day,
Yeah.
he looked sad. Like as a human. Forget your Michiganness for
Do you
a
want
moment.
to see a
As
photograph
human.
of me for the 8 years? Do you know how sad I looked? I came on this show and I talked a game that I thought my school was going to back up. And I wound up wearing Michigan. I wound up wearing Ohio State hats and jerseys. And I
Took a picture outside.
Oh
once.
my God! The number of Buckeyes that come on our show and talk smack to me, and I had zero retort. I was retortless. I couldn't say anything for 8 years, and now I'm supposed to feel bad.
When you saw the
sir.
picture of Ryan Day standing there, Rich, with near tears welling up in his eyes,
yes,
and you felt nothing.
Nothing. If that means I'm an empty shell of a man, I have no heart. Are you kidding me?
No, he felt joy.
I mean, there are tears that I'm collecting by a cup right now and turning into a martini. Are you kidding me?
He has a few sips every morning with his breakfast.
Here's the twist for that martini. A 5-loss team with a walk-on quarterback and a passing game that is only better than 2 service academies coming in, and they've got wideouts like they had, and they didn't even use that advantage, and I'm supposed to feel because the coach looks sad? Emmanuel Acho, we have just met in person, sir.
What's a tear martini taste like?
Oh, a tear martini. Salty. And I'd like to add a little bit more and then find the wound and rub it in. Come on, you don't feel that way about Oklahoma? Back when you were playing? Here's
what I think.
That rivalry didn't make you feel that way?
People ask me, do I hate Oklahoma? And I always say no. Because without Oklahoma, Texas isn't Texas. Without Magic, Bird isn't Bird. Without Bird, Magic isn't Magic. You need the antagonist to have the protagonist. So, to me, I mean, if I were you, I would gloat. But Ohio State, this should have been their year. Like I personally, as a neutral fan, I cover college football for Fox every day from 9 a.m. for on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I watch you on the air.
As a neutral fan, I really said, I feel bad. Mind you, Chip Kelly, my former Eagles head coach, is the OC for Ohio
Understood.
State.
So I like Chip.
I like Chip a lot, but I just felt
I really liked Chip when he ran it on 3rd and 10.
You walked into that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Emmanuel.
Every day,
please.
Emmanuel, every day.
Make it stop.
Right now. Make it stop. Make it stop.
Let's just get started.
The fact that you said that this Ohio State team is as good as it is, and by the way, it still has a chance to prove it, which Michigan does not.
They can't. They're handicapped. The quarterback.
You think so?
They're
huh?
handicapped. I don't think so. Chip thinks so.
Well, but with their play calling.
Bro, it was 3rd and 8 coming out of 3rd and 7 coming out of their own goal line. They ran the ball. Then I think the play you're talking about, I think it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, going in.
Yeah, going in.
And you ran the ball.
After Caleb Downs just picked him off.
People ask, like, hey, Emmanuel, how you feel about this quarterback? How you feel about Jalen Hurts? How you feel about Will Howard? Don't ask how I feel. How does their coach feel? Watch how they call the game. You know how they feel about Will Howard. Watch how they call the game. Ohio State was playing not to lose. They weren't playing to win. And if you play not to lose, you inevitably lose. Watch how they call the game. Any sport, forget what the analyst says. Just watch how the coach calls the game. That tells you everything you need to know.
Well, the fact that they were supposed to win and Michigan then did, it makes it even sweeter. That's so. Now we can see eye to eye.
If you're happy, I'm happy.
Well, listen, it's possible. Let's just give Ryan Day a chance on the second chance stage on Max, right?
I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
I see.
There may be an eye in Rich and Eisen, but I'm a team player. You know what I mean? Certainly when I'm sitting in the host chair right here. Emmanuel Acho here on the Rich Eisen Show. Best team in the National Football League at present is?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Why is
Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles know how to win, period. Say what you will about Jalen Hurts. I say a lot. Jalen Hurts is the second best winner in the National Football League. Okay, who's the best winner? Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' defense right now, letting him down in the worst way. Not to mention the offense isn't doing great as well. So the Philadelphia Eagles, when you think about what they can do offensively,
yes,
it's just a numbers game. At the end of the day, you need to keep an extra dude in the box to stop Saquon Barkley. But A.J. Brown might be one of the most underrated receivers in football, and people know he's good. So that just tells you how good he is. People don't talk enough about Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach. Jeff Stoutland for the Philadelphia Eagles. I have seen him firsthand turn a rugby-playing defensive tackle into a $70 million left tackle. So when I think about what the Eagles can do offensively, what they're doing defensively, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, I believe he's really the architect for the modern 3-4 defense. There is no team who's gotten more out of their players than the Eagles. There's no team, I think, that's playing better than the Eagles, and I don't think there's a more complete team than the Eagles.
Well, I mean, Greg Bond is the perfect example of getting something out of players, right?
Yep,
Zach Bond, right?
Is an absolute beast.
He is unreal what he's doing right now. But the way to avoid any issues on offense is to have your running back run through the red zone into the end zone. What he's, the MVP conversation right now is down to two guys. Would you agree? Josh Allen and Saquon Barkley?
It right is now? Jared Goff could make a push.
You think so,
Jared Goff could. That 5-interception game on national television hurt him. Jared Goff could make a push. Funny enough, Jalen Hurts could make a push. But Jalen and Saquon may cannibalize each other as a votes-wise.
Yeah, I just think, again, we saw Jalen Hurts in his Super Bowl season, and he's playing as well right now right now as he did in that Super Bowl season. The difference maker's Barkley. He is just the difference maker where he'll turn a 1-score game into a 2-score game and then soon make it a 3-score game. At the most pressing times, third quarters, fourth quarters, on the road. He is unbelievable right now.
What's more important? Because I have this tense debate all the time with myself. I say it all the time on my show. I'm an MVP voter, and so I think about this stuff a ton, far too often. Saquon, I suggest, is like the Mariano Rivera, the ultimate closer. But Jalen, A.J. Brown, they're the openers. 4th and 3, New York Giants.
Right.
What are you going to do? You throw the go ball to A.J. Brown. I've seen the Eagles lose games with Saquon on the field. I haven't seen them lose a game with A.J. Brown on the field. With Saquon on the field, they got 2 losses. Their losses came when A.J. didn't play. Reason I say this is Saquon is the ultimate closer. He turns a 7-point game into a 14-point game. He turns a 14-point game into a 21-point game. He turns a 3-point game into a 10-point game. But is that more valuable than what Josh Allen does? Like, is that more valuable than Josh Allen with Who knows at wide receiver? Shout out to the acquisition of Amari Cooper, but Keon ain't played in a while. Dalton Kincaid, first round pick from last year, he been out. Offensive line is cool. They solid. Running back, shout out to James Cook. He's been an ascending player over the last 3 years. Defense of a bunch of, with all due respect, no names. Shout out to what Bernard's been able to do when Matt Milano was hurt. Josh Allen got them at 10-2? At 10-2? You were not wrong when you said that the Buffalo Bills were going to fall off a cliff to some degree this year. I said the same thing. Based upon their roster, they do not have the talent based upon the names at the roster at the beginning of the season to compete. And yet Josh Allen has them at 10-2. It's just, it will be very hard outside of Saquon breaking a record, Rich. It'll be very hard for him to win it.
Okay. So then last one for you here. We'll do what's more likely, a quick one with Emmanuel Acho. What's more likely, Bills win the Super Bowl or Texas wins the national championship?
Texas wins the Natty. That's for way more likely.
No, is that the burnt orange in you coming out here? Or
no,
what?
For the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl, eventually,
yes.
You got to have dudes. Eventually, Josh can do a lot.
He's the
but
dude.
We've seen Josh go 9 for 30, if I'm not mistaken, against the Houston Texans. Now, they got Amari Cooper since, but eventually, I'm just asking you, like, what happens? What happens when Amari has somebody, a DB that can lock him up? What happens? What happens? Like, eventually, I think you're going to run out of bullets.
Okay.
And can Josh carry them for 4 straight games? Can he do it?
And so Texas has an easier path.
Dude, and Texas just got weapons, bro. Oh, they got backups that could be starters. Arch Manning is a backup. You got Arch Manning on the bench.
Him scoring that his first touch in the history of Texas versus Texas A&M, which has got a vast history but hasn't had one over the last decade.
Touchdown.
For him to put that one in the end zone, that was something else.
Heck yeah, it was. He's a future.
He is that. And T.J. Jefferson's ready to buy a boat from the car.
Notice how I didn't gloat about Texas beating Michigan. You should stand and learn a thing or two, Rich.
Excuse me, Emmanuel Acho, we took a beating in our house from your school.
And I didn't say anything.
We took an absolute beating, but all that was doing, you didn't know it at the time, I didn't know it at the time, was just slow playing for Ohio State. We were just slow playing. We were like, you know what? That was a terrible loss. Let's get 4 more of those. And just rope-a-dope our way into Columbus and turn everybody else into the dopes. That's what we did.
Let me ask you, I just got one for you. I know you got to dismiss me. Was this season...
Don't say it like that.
Was this season worth it? Like all those losses, but you beat Ohio State?
No. I don't view it that way.
Would you rather be 11-1 and lose to Ohio State?
Of course. I want to be in this 12. I want to follow up the championship with a chance to do it again instead of what I mean, that was a long-ass 3 months, man.
9-3, but lose to Ohio State.
I don't want to lose to Ohio State. Ever.
So would you rather this 6-5 season, maybe 7-5 season with the win over Ohio State?
I don't want a 6-5 or 7-5 season ever. I don't want it. I don't want it. And no one should want it. And no one's going to sit here and go, I would give, the worst possible season. All we got to do is beat Ohio State and the season is redeemed. That's the way Ohio State views this rivalry. I don't view it that way. Ohio State, they go to sleep thinking about Michigan. They wake up thinking about Michigan. And then in 1 week of the season, they can't even spell the word Michigan. Yeah. They don't like saying the word Michigan. Ryan Day's like, we don't even wear blue this week. Get out of here. You're wearing blue. It's like, maybe you should start wearing blue. Maybe you should start spelling the word Michigan. Maybe you should just say, instead of this school up north, just call them Michigan. Just try something else, because the last 4 years.
It ain't working. It ain't working.
Oh, this man told me not to gloat. Told me not to gloat. Too late. Second Chance Stage airs Thursdays on Max. Congratulations on that gig.
Thank you, brother.
And then, of course, say hello to everybody at the facility for me, if you don't mind. Check that out on Fox Sports, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on FS1 with you and Cut on Dime.
You already 25. know 2-5.
James Jones and Chase Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Who's terrific. Say hi to everybody for me, will you? That's Emmanuel Acho, everybody, right here. Check out, again, Second Chance Stage airing Thursdays on Max. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.